Good morning. It's Sunday, December 5th. And the other day I heard Joe Biden give a talk, and he mentioned that we only have 4.2% unemployment in this country. And I'm here to tell you that that is a crock of shit, because that number does not contain all the facts. That's a bogus number. The unemployment rate gets a lot of press coverage, but the ratio that it represents is the percentage of the people in the labor force without jobs who haven't been working or looking for work for the last 4 weeks. Well, we got people that are out of work for months. They're not on the unemployment rolls anymore. They're not even interested in looking for work, a lot of them. So, many people believe that it's a good indication of the economy's overall strength. Many people believe the fact that 4.2% of the people are unemployed is a good number, but I am telling you that's a crock of shit, because it doesn't take everything into consideration. And just look around you. We are in the midst of a raging inflation period, and we don't have enough police. We don't have enough fire. We don't have enough truck drivers. Stuff is not moving through this country the way it should be because we don't have workers. And many believe that it's because we are too generous with our relief packages. And maybe that's right. Maybe we were too generous. I know, and I have mentioned many times, that in my group we got relief packages that we didn't need. So the unemployment rate doesn't account for discouraged workers. People who, they're not in the official numbers anymore. These are adults who have looked for jobs at some point in the past 12 months, but not in the last 4 weeks, because they're out of touch. They're out. They're discouraged. These are people who are discouraged because they've given up finding jobs, at least temporarily. And our relief program are taking very good care of these. And we ought to be able to do something to put these people to work. Even if you got to give them a job that they don't want, you got to give them a job to do because we need that job done. So if you want to collect money from us, then you ought to be able to take a job when we need you. And then you have workers who are what they call marginally attached workers. This is a worker who's not attached they aren't in the labor force because they haven't looked for work in the past month for whatever reasons. They'll start looking for a job on May 1st, but in June they don't look anymore. But you wouldn't be considered unemployed because you haven't shown up in the unemployment often enough. So again, 4.2% is baloney. And the other thing is, it doesn't separate the part-time workers from full-time workers. It doesn't take into account that somebody could be doing 2 or 3 jobs, right? It doesn't take into the quality of the jobs that the workers have, right? We need people who can do a good job. We desperately need truck drivers. So what are we doing? Nothing about that. And there are many people who can't find jobs because nobody wants to pay them a decent salary. It's cheaper for them to be on SNAP or something, right? It doesn't consider that. And if you have a low-paid job, you're in the role as working, and so you make the 4.2%. That's what makes it, because you got a low job, a shitty-paying job. But this number doesn't identify those people who are underemployed. The people who have low jobs because they can't find anything else locally by themselves or whatever. And people who feel that they're underpaid are not going to do a great job. So we shouldn't count them even. If they're underpaid, maybe we shouldn't even count them as being employed. And I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to who said their small businesses can't afford to pay a higher minimum wage. They're against the higher minimum wage because they'll put the small businessman out of business. Well, is it right for the small businessman to live off the back of his employees, to make all the money and give the employees a decent living wage? I don't think that's right. I think if you can't pay a living wage, then you don't deserve to be in business. Now, you could say, I'm taking a chance, I'm going to give a startup, and I'm going to give you a minimum wage now, but as soon as we get rolling, I'll help you out. I will raise you. So then, if you're the worker, you have an opportunity to maybe make a lot more money if you trust the employer. So there's a lot that goes into just being on the employment rolls, you know. And another thing, this employment percent doesn't capture the long-term unemployment. So if you haven't been working for at least 27 weeks, and that's what they consider long-term unemployment, but there's plenty of people around that probably haven't worked in a year or more. There's millions of people that fall into the 27-week category, but the unemployment statistics don't consider how many people haven't had jobs. So if you put all of that together, the number of unemployment rate might be 10%, not just 4.2%. So I think it's foolish for Joe Biden to go around and throw around a number that he probably doesn't even understand. It's a number. It's a number. The real number is something called the U6 measure. And the U6 measure says that the current unemployment rate is 7.4%. And the overall average for the last 12 months has been 10%. So you see, this 4.2% is just a bullshit number. It's not correct. We should not be basing our lives on phony stats. Now, I don't know why the U6 measurement is not prominently used all the time, but it exists. And it's a real number because it takes into account all of the things that we have mentioned in this discussion. The long-term unemployment, the short-term unemployment, the unhappiness, etc., etc. So, if you really think about it, the reason that they don't use U6 is because it tells the truth. And we don't want the truth out there. Because if the truth was out there, then the following would never have happened to us. We don't have many critical jobs filled. And we don't have critical materials being made in this country anymore because we farmed it all out to places like China and Mexico. So that's where our jobs went. That's where our good jobs went. They went overseas because the corporations wanted to make more and more money. And we, the United States, doesn't look much beyond, say, some phony 5-year plan. Doesn't realize how much we gave away to China. China leads us in pharmaceutical manufacturing. Taiwan is the leading semiconductor chip place in the world, right? Followed by South Korea, which makes a minimal amount of chips. So when you hear these unemployment numbers, they're a crock. We have major problems in this country. And we're not doing the right things by giving people money. If we're going to give people money, we should give them jobs to do too. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But if you want to work, you should work. There's no way around it. And we shouldn't be giving bogus numbers to people, giving out lots of bogus information and people lapping it up and loving it. As far as I'm concerned, Joe Biden is not doing a good job. And the way I see it right now, we sure as shit, we being those who vote Democratic usually, we sure as shit are not going to win the 2022 election. This country is in dire shape and it ain't getting better soon. So that's what I say, and I say don't believe whatever they tell you because they haven't done their homework. So that's it for today, and I'll see you tomorrow.